Good evening, friends. This is Josh Liu. Well, we have our Super Bowl teams. We have the New England Patriots out of the AFC, and we have the Seattle Seahawks out of the NFC. It was too hard not to think about watching the AFC Championship when you saw the Patriots going to Denver, when all of us in Houston were thinking the same thing. It should have been the Houston Texans. Why couldn't the Houston Texans be there playing Denver? The Broncos with their backup quarterback, Jarrett Stidham. Why couldn't it be us? I think we all know why. I've said it all year long. You could say it the same thing last year. Yes, the big elephant in the room is CJ Stroud. But I'm going to go back to CJ Stroud in just a second. The defense was good enough. We had one of the best defenses in the league. You could say Seattle was up there with the Houston Texans too. Denver had a pretty good defense. The Patriots had a good defense. But as far as neck and neck, as far as the best defense with Houston, the Seahawks were up there with numbers wise, and as far as number one and two with the yardage and points per game allowed and all that stuff. But it was the offense. We all know it was the offense that was going to keep us from getting as far as we've never gone before, which is not just a Super Bowl, but even an AFC Championship game, which the Houston Texans still have not done in 24 freaking seasons. It's so freaking sad that we're the only NFL team. We're the only team. Jaguars even made it. The Browns have made it. All these other sorry teams. The Lions have made it. We're the only team that has not made it to a conference championship game. I was going to do this video a day or two after that game against the Patriots, but you know what? I'm sure I was like a lot of y'all. I probably wasn't as mad because I've kind of been numb to it all being a Houston fan. Like, they're going to disappoint us again. We should, because we got the defense. We got a good coach. We should. It's always the same. We should have been there. We should have been there. And then it's wait till next year. Wait till next year. So, I'll be straight up with you. I'm not going to get too crazy, but including the Oilers and the Houston Texans. I'm talking the Houston Oilers when the Tennessee Titans were the Houston Oilers long before they were the Tennessee Titans. I've been watching Houston pro sports football since the mid-'80s, guys. Since like 85, 86. The Texans have not made it to a conference AFC Championship game, Super Bowl. Guess what? The Oilers never made it. Okay, they made it way back with Bum Phillips and them, late 70s, 80, whatever. But I was too little. I wasn't watching football when I was like 3 or 4 years old. But I'm talking like from the mid-'80s to right now and still rolling. You're talking 40 years and counting that the Houston Oilers and now obviously the Texans the last 24 seasons have not made it to a Super Bowl, much less an AFC Championship game. And I'm not going to lie, the day after the freaking game, I was like, probably like most of y'all, get rid of Stroud, get rid of him. Get rid of him. He's terrible. He's garbage. He's hot garbage. Shit. Don't even have him fly with you back on the way back from freaking New England. But cooler heads prevailed, just like probably some of y'all probably gave it much thought and figured out, you know what? There's other issues going on. Obviously, we all agree CJ Stroud had a bad game. Can we all agree? CJ Stroud had an awful game with all those turnovers, very bad decision making. He looked like he was scared. His mind was he was overwhelmed. Okay, there was he was they should have put freaking Davis Mills in there in the second half. But we all got different opinions on is what to do with CJ Stroud. Do we trade him for another quarterback? Do we just bench him and just let Davis Mills be the starter and maybe draft a quarterback in the draft? So I'm going to give you the first option. People that want to trade for another quarterback, who do we trade for? And then what quarterback do we going to trade for? I know Joe Burrow wants to get out of Cincinnati, but do you really want to trade Stroud and give up some other picks or some other assets for Joe Burrow? Joe Burrow cannot stay healthy, guys. Y'all know this. He's always hurt. Yeah, he's great. He's even gone to a Super Bowl against the LA Rams a few years back. He beat Mahomes. You saw what he did at LSU in college, and you see what he's done since then. He's a great quarterback, but he cannot stay healthy. You want to trade for Malik Willis? I think it's Malik Willis. You want to trade for Tyrod Taylor? No. Why are we going to trade for another quarterback that's either injury prone or it's not really a legit starter? So that's not off the table. That's the last thing you want to do is the next thing is getting rid of him. So what? You're gonna just have Davis Mills just be the starter and then try to draft a quarterback? Well, one thing, we don't have a high pick at all. We're not gonna get one of the top quarterbacks, the top 3 or 4 quarterbacks. We're not gonna get Fernando Mendoza. Then it's going to set us back another 4 or 5 years because we got to get another quarterback. We got to groom him. We got to get him to the system, get him up to speed. No. We can't just do that. We're stuck with him for at least another year or two, probably. I will say this also. The Texans, now he's eligible for an extension now, because this will be his 4th year. Do not give CJ Stroud 50, 55, 60 million the next 4 years. Do not do it. If you would have just, after the first year, his rookie year, he was sensational. He was great. But what happened to that CJ Stroud the last couple of years? I'll tell you what happened. Really started happening last year. That offensive line, and this going back to Nick Caserio, back on your plate. You have not addressed the offensive line, dude. You didn't address it this past off season. You didn't address it. Yes, you got Arianta Ursary. You have not addressed it, and the free agents you got were garbage. Except for the one on the right guard. But the other one's Cameron Jordan, what's his name? And the other one, the guard, they didn't even last 3 or 4 weeks in the season. They were gone. The offensive line has been an issue. Guys, y'all know this. That 3 or 4 game stretch when we were primetime against the Jets and then we were going up against these other good defenses, he was getting clobbered. I think from then on, he wasn't the same because he actually played decent earlier 2024. And then from then on, he wasn't the same. This season, he hasn't been good. And then he gets that concussion. And obviously, he lost some key players. He lost his buddy Tank Dell. And then Nico Collins is out before the Patriots. He's out this game, and then he loses the tight end Dalton. So he has a lot of things going. Not to make excuses, because every team has injuries, but he has not had the offensive line. He hasn't had the weapons. I'm talking the weapons like these other teams have. Okay. Can y'all agree with me on that? He hasn't had the offensive line and the weapons. So I'm going to tell you what they need to do. They need to put the brakes. Put the brakes on giving him that big extension. Maybe pick up the 5th-year option. Maybe for a couple of years. But that's the most I would put that on pause. Wait and see what he does this 4th year. Wait and see. Prove us that you're still there. That you can still be the starting quarterback for the Houston Texans. And at the same time, Nick Caserio, are you listening? Build up that offensive line. I'm seriously, build up, especially the interior offensive line. You need a left guard. You need to upgrade the center from Andrews. You need another right guard. You need to upgrade that offensive line. I seriously, Nick, the first 3 picks, you got 4 picks in the first 70. In the first 70, out of the first 70, you got like 4 picks. I don't think you got a first round. You got two second rounds and 3. I might be wrong. You got 4 picks in the first 70. Okay. At least those 3. You got to get offensive line. The other thing you got to get a stud running back, bro. You got to get another run back. Joe Mixon, hit the road, Jack. You got to go, bro. You didn't do nothing last year. We didn't even know what the hell the freaking injury is about. Nick Caserio was scared to freaking tell the media, tell the fans, whatever. You know you got 1 year left on your contract, but hit the road, Jack. We don't know. You're going to sit out another year while we could address this running back thing right now? So either get a stud running back in the draft, and there's some good running backs. There's some really, really good running backs in this draft. And I'm not even talking about the first round. You can get a good running back in the first 2 or 3 rounds for sure. So you can use him to complement Woody Marks. Because to me, Woody Marks is not a 1A running back. He's a good running back to complement a really stud running back. You can't have him be the main bell cow. You're already wearing him out already because there was no Joe Mixon. And Nick Chubb wasn't Nick Chubb by the end of the season. He was all worn down and everything. And you got to get another running back. You got to get a stud running back. You got to address the tight end, dude. Dalton Schultz was the only one. Case over. He was there, but he gets hurt too much. Brevin Jordan, he showed all his potential in the preseason and everything, but he was hurt in the preseason. And then he had another tight end. I don't even remember his name. See, I can't remember the freaking name. So really, you got to address the tight end. One that can block, obviously. And obviously one that can catch. So you need to address offensive line. You got to get a stud running back. You got to get a tight end. Our wide receiving core is pretty solid. But maybe get another slot guy. Tank Dell is supposed to be back, but he might be back, but then he might get hurt again. So, you don't know. But that's what I'm saying. Give CJ Stroud everything he needs. You got another year with Nick Caley. You know, the offensive line coach, Cole Popovich, did a good job with the offensive line. And it got better as the year. Midway through the season, the offensive line was getting better. So I think he did a good job. Fix that offensive line. Get the offensive line. Golly, Nick Caserio. You've had all these years to address the offensive line. I'll address it. That's the number one thing. Get a stud running back. You need a running back. Another running back besides Woody Marks. Get a tight end. And then on defense, get a defensive tackle. You get a stud defensive tackle to go along with Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter and that killer secondary and them Aziz and them solid linebackers and everything. You get a solid defensive tackle. That defense is even gonna be that much better. I know what I'm talking about. I might talk shit because I'm passionate. I'm gonna talk shit. And just because I talk shit don't mean I'm a damn fan. I know what the fuck I'm talking about. I've been watching football since I was like little. I'm fucking 50, motherfucker. I know what needs to do. So don't give CJ Stroud that money. Give him everything he needs, Nick Caserio, this offseason. And see if he can come out of it. See if CJ Stroud, I don't care if you got to take him to the best sports psychiatrist. On top of that also, probably would be a bad idea. Keep that under wraps. But give him everything he needs. And if he ends up taking us further, finally, instead of being 0-7 right now in the divisional round, 0-3 obviously with CJ Stroud and DeMeco Ryans, we've been there 3 straight times. It doesn't seem like we're ever going to get past that wall. But we finally get past it. At least we're finally taking a step forward. If we go to Super Bowl next year, even better. But on the flip side, if he doesn't come out of it, he ends up being like Chauvin's last year when he was throwing all those pick sixes. It was straight, just terrible. It was time to go. Then you know what to do. You're glad you didn't give him $50-60 million a year for the next fucking 4 years, right? That's what I'm saying. What we got to do right now, this offseason with CJ Stroud. And maybe you got to have him, give him some competition with Davis Mills. Davis Mills wasn't that bad. Davis Mills was not that bad. He won us some games this season. If it wasn't for him, it wouldn't have been in the playoffs. Think about that. But for sure, give him the weapons. Give him the offensive line. Give him the weapons and see what transpires. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to go as far as my Super Bowl pick. I'm going with Seattle Seahawks. I think there's more balance on both sides of the ball. I know the Patriots have a good defense, and I like Mike Vrabel. Obviously, he was on the defensive staff several years back with the Texans. I've always liked Mike Vrabel, even though I didn't like the Patriots. And I'm not going to talk about Bill Belichick because that was a terrible snub. But I'm going with Seahawks because they're more balanced. That running back is legit for the Seahawks, even though they're missing Charbonnet. But they look like they're destined to win it all. So I got the Seahawks winning it all. But like I said, Houston Texans fans, I'm going to be doing some videos a little more often. And I'm going to see my passion. Because that's how I am. And I'm going to be freaking real with you. I'm going to be freaking true with y'all. So I'm Josh Liu. Go Texans. And I'm out. H-Town, love you. Peace.